Hello, and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Jameelah, and I am a master manifester, and I'm sure you are too because you're watching content like this. The name of this channel is Manifesting Magic the Practical Way, because there are a lot of practical ways to manifest the life that we choose. My eyes are burning today. Sometimes if I put on eyeliner or something early in the morning, they burn. I'll put these shades back on. I was going to do my video without shades, but whatever. It's me. Hope your day is going good. Your morning's going great. I love when I get prepared for the morning and I'm not like behind and I have time to like dilly-dally and all that. It feels really, really good. My message for today is you cannot heal what you don't address. I know sometimes we think that, okay, because we can hide things about ourselves from other people, if we're around other people who aren't tapped in, who aren't tuned in, and we have these discrepancies within us, that we're able to hide with outward behavior, we think, oh good, I'm pulling it off. We also have a lot of conversations in our society about faking it until you make it. And while that can be great in a lot of circumstances and situations, it's great for imposter syndrome. Like if you walk in the room, say in my world, you walk in a room full of PhDs who are all, research 10, 15, 20, 30, 100 articles, some people, and you come in there with your little one or two published items, and you might think like, oh God, do I even belong in this room? That's a good place to fake it till you make it, because you are at the level of the people that you're walking into the room of. You just don't see yourself in that space yet, right? So when fake it till you make it doesn't work is when you're in intimate and close relationships with other people. Because if you can't be naked anywhere else, you have to be able to be naked with the people that are around you. And when I say naked, I'm not talking about physically naked. Although that might be something that you might have to work on too. But you have to be able to be free around other people. And when I say free, I mean all of your great parts and your insecurities and all that stuff has to be freely flowing out of you, and it can't be like uncomfortable, and you can't try to gloss over those things with people that are intimately close to you, especially if they're, I'll say, tuned in, tapped in. They understand those things about you. They can feel them, they can read them, they can feel your energy, and so you have to take off the mask and let me address this thing, because I can't continue in a healthy relationship. I can't continue to move forward until I address these things that are definitely holding me back, and in this world, I think we see our undesirable proclivities, or what some may call weaknesses, or those things that are traumas that we've not healed. We see those things as weaknesses way too often. And they only become a weakness when you refuse to address them. Because then you have a blind spot. You are not operating in your full self. And there's a part of you that's always being hidden and tucked away. So not only do we not get that full version of you, we also can't use everything about you as a way to grow and connect with you, right? We have to try to, understand you around those little corners and leave that part alone, because they're not willing to acknowledge that and leave that part alone. And this is not something that I haven't done in many, many, many environments, right? When I look back at especially some friendships and people I was involved with at different times, I did a whole lot of hiding, right? And sometimes it was my knowledge. I knew that I was hiding. And then other times I felt like I was just being the best version of me, right? But what happens is when you're always worried about or always caught up on with being the best version of yourself, you miss all those things about yourself where you haven't healed yet. Those areas where you can connect with others. Those areas where you can show people how to grow and develop past those things that have been holding you back, right? You can't heal what you don't acknowledge, because to you, you're perfectly fine, plodding along through life. Everything is working out. But what normally happens, and I think this just popped in my head, so it must need to be said. What normally happens is that you hit a wall, right? Where the behavior and the way that you've been going about life and the things that you've been tucking away and not addressing, they start affecting every aspect of who you are and what you're connected to, right? So say you're the kind of person that has what they call a mother wound or a father wound, meaning that there was some deep relational issues that created a trauma in you that started off with your father, or that started off with your mother, right? A lot of times, when people have deep father or mother wounds is when they relate poorly sometimes to the opposite sex. And when I say relate poorly, that doesn't mean they can't be in relationships or they have a problem with being in relationship. It just means that there was something that they didn't feel like they got from their father, or they didn't feel like they got from their mother. And it starts to play out in deeper relationships as you go further along, because mothers and fathers hold a very intimate place for us, a very intimate spot. And sometimes these mother and father wounds only come up when we are in close relation to in intimacy with someone who is of the opposite sex, or someone who is, a female like a mother, or a male like a father to some extent. And we don't fully understand why we're having such a hard time connecting, and why we don't trust, and why we have issues, and why we can't believe that they can be trusted with our lives or with what we want to accomplish and our true selves and all that, is because we haven't healed those part of ourselves. A good indicator sometime is when, like for this particular thing, is when I meet people and they don't have really good relationships with one or two of their parents. And it's not saying that we all have perfect parents and you have to love them unconditionally no matter what. I mean, you should. I think it's good to love people unconditionally. It doesn't mean you have to have them in your space, right? But if you meet a man or you meet a woman and they always say woman, she has daddy issues. That's a real thing. You can meet men, and depending on how your father showed up in your life, you'll try to make up for that relationship and what didn't work in it with every male relationship you try to bring into your space, until you address it and identify it, and then you can start healing it, right? And same thing with men. A lot of times when you meet men who don't have a high reverence for women, or they're not particularly, they like what they can use and receive from women, but they don't particularly hold women to a high level in their lives. Like, they don't have a reverence for feminine energy or the beauty, the level of energy that women deposit into every space that they're a part of, when they're a healthy and whole woman. A lot of times, if you look back, they often have a mother wound. They often have a poor relationship with their mom, or either non-existent relationship. And it may be something related to how their connection lacked so many things that the person needed when they were a child, that they can't possibly see the value in women as they move forward in their lives, the full value. So women, same thing. If you had a father that didn't show up the right way, it's hard for us to see the full value of a male figure in our lives sometimes, right? And so when I was riding in here, coming on campus, right? I wish I could see this campus. This is one of the most beautiful campuses I've ever seen. And the reason, I think it's my New Orleans in me. If you're ever from New Orleans or lived in that area, if you've been on St. Charles Avenue, like where the streetcars run, and you see how the trees hug the roads, like every single walkway and every single road on this campus is hugged by beautiful trees that just like canopy. So like it's 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I can take a walk on campus and not die of heat, because these trees are really enveloping you everywhere you go, and it's pretty cool. I was driving on campus, and I was like, it's so beautiful today. And I thought to myself, I was like, man, if you don't address things, you really can't heal them. And so that's just a word that came to me. So I'm like, maybe somebody needed to hear that. I know I always need to hear stuff like that, right? And I decided to stop today. I was like, I don't want to go all the way in the garage. I'm gonna stop right here and make a video, right? And just keep that in mind. You know, if you don't address it, if you don't really look deeper into those wounds and those sores and those those tender spots, you really cannot heal those areas. And a lot of times it takes you stepping back and taking a break from your life, taking a break from people, taking a break from a situation, taking a break from an area, a mindset, where you can really dig deep into, what are the areas that are holding me back right now? What are the areas where I'm being forced to grow? And what is something that I've been ignoring and normalizing for a very long time that I really need to address? Anyway, I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful day. Today I'm not wearing a blazer. My daughter would be like, oh, no blazer. No, I'm wearing a cute little cardigan. I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna put the blazers away for the day. She's like, you don't have to wear a blazer every day. People are still going to respect you. I'm like, people respect energy. They don't respect blazers. I'm like, but when you go places, you know, they do command a certain amount of moving around of people. When you walk through a door, people open the door, oh, good morning. They don't know who you are. They're like, why are they dressed like that? They're not sure. So there is a little bit of an upgrade in the treatment when you dress a certain way, when you walk in certain environments, right? Not every environment, but certain environments, it can definitely be a bonus. Nonetheless, I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful day. And just keep that in mind. You can heal what you don't address.